Hello everyone. So as you can see right now I'm standing at a very scenic location in the middle of the Canadian Rockies, and I'm standing at my hotel where I'm going to start my journey from. And this is right now in Lake Louise, which is somewhere near the Banff area, Banff National Park to be precise. And I'm standing next to a Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck, as this is going to be my ride for the Canadian Rockies. So yeah, I picked this truck up from the Calgary airport. I drove all the way from the airport to Banff National Park, and now to Lake Louise. But that was only about the 20% of the journey, guys, because the next part is the more exciting part. That is going to be one of the world's most scenic highways, that is the Icefields Parkway. And I'm going to take you along in this truck. So without wasting any further time, let's go along. Guys, now we are off the main highway and we are on the scenic road. This road will be traveling through the national park area, which means there are good chances of spotting wildlife like elk, mountain goat, deers, and of course grizzly bears. So this is their country, and definitely right now we are heading towards the Icefields Parkway. This is going to be a very special journey, as this is the Highway 93. As I said, the Highway 93 is the scenic road, and I've got to know that it's going to be a good collection of forest, mountains, snow-capped mountains, lakes, and yes, a lot of glaciers as well. So when I picked up the Dodge Ram from the airport, let me tell you, this was absolutely a fresh car right out of the showroom, because I checked on the odometer, it was just 55 kilometers. So practically I'm running in the car right now. But hey, just a minute, more on the car later, because I see a jam ahead and I don't understand why is this jam. So let me just stop and see what is it. Alright guys, right now I've just run into a bear jam, an entire family of bears, which we can see. I'll just turn the camera around for you. Absolutely a stunning sight. So yeah, that was really lucky. We found a couple of bears at a few footsteps away from the car. It was a magnificent sight to see such a wild animal in a proper national park, not in a zoo cage. And I genuinely feel this is how you should view animals. But in the meanwhile, just let me turn the camera around for you to just have a look at the views ahead. Absolutely stunning. Okay, now I think we are entering the Bow Lake, which supposedly is frozen. And oh, just look at the sight. It's a stunning sight. I was expecting the ice would have thawed by now, but it still is a beautiful sight. I'll join you guys in a bit in the car. Till then, I'm just going to stand here and just look at the scenery. So yes, we've started the Icefields Parkway. This was just the beginning. Still, the sights are just stunning, and there are more such magnificent stops on the way. Though you can complete the journey, the entire journey up to Jasper in around 4 hours, but it would be a crime to do so, because it is better to stop at all the scenic locations to breathe in the Canadian Rockies, because right now we are in the middle of them, and no better car, no better truck to do it in than the Dodge Ram 1500, and I'm really lucky to have her right now by my side. Okay, now we stop by a lake which is not frozen and just look at the scenery. Let's just go out. Simply stunning, I think. And we were lucky enough to find a lake which is not frozen. I really don't know the lake name because there's no network here, and sadly the Ram 1500 doesn't come with a standard navigation system, so we don't know what lake is this, but it's a good lake with a good view and snow-capped mountains. So let's just hit back on the road and see what else we can find. It's really stunning to imagine that just around 25 kilometers back the entire lake was frozen, and the lake which we just stopped by was not frozen at all. Well, this is what the Icefields Parkway is all about, and the nature's beauty is really stunning. So let's just see what else we can find ahead which can amaze us equally. As you can see, it's all snow-clad on both the sides, but you will be surprised to notice the temperature outside is like around 17-18 degrees Celsius, and it's pretty sunny, and which is such a great thing because you don't see this often. And in fact, here you're going to be seeing a person in shorts, you know, with his pickup truck, and that's completely stunning. You know, people roam around in shorts with snow all around. Such vistas. Absolutely brilliant conditions to be in the Canadian Rockies. Okay guys, I think we have just encountered a mountain goat here. Very funny animal. Doing its own thing, looking for grass. And let's just do our own thing. A 0 to 60 maybe. I think this is it. We are somewhere in the middle of the Icefields Parkway. Alright guys, so right now the Icefield Parkway is just about to end. I tried my best to capture the best moments of this entire scenic drive. It was a pretty long drive, 240 kilometers, which we completed in around 4 hours with all the stopping. That's not bad at all. So yeah, my hotel stay is going to be in Jasper, in the middle of the Jasper National Park. Jasper is a small town, and roughly the population is around 4,500 people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to my hotel stay, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a much longer journey, and I'll see you then. Yeah. Hello, good morning everyone. So it was a good night's stay at the hotel, and now it's a bright and sunny day, and it's a good time to get back on the road to our next destination. So let's just load the bag in the truck so we can get going. So our next destination is going to be a place going by the name Whistler, and this is going to be a part of the British Columbia region, and which again is in Canada. It's a different state, but the fun fact is that as soon as you cross the border, which we will be approaching in just a while, you will gain 1 hour. So that is something which I've never done before on road, and that's something I'm looking forward to. So yeah, as this is going to be a 700 kilometer drive, we have much time to talk about the car and the engine. So it started raining here. It's still around another 3-hour drive to our halt. So it's a good time to talk about the car now, I think. So as you know, this is a Dodge Ram 1500 powered by the 5.7 liter V8 Hemi engine. Well, to spell out the specifications, it is having 395 horses and 555 Newton meters of torque. That is big by any standard. But to be honest, from 5.7 liter, only 395 horsepower, that sounds a bit less. Because in today's age, when we talk about forced induction, this kind of a power output can be reached like in half the cc with a couple of cylinders less as well. But that's not how Americans like it, and they like that big V8 rumble, which I'm getting while driving the Ram 1500. Also, I have some, I've recently developed a deep respect for Dodge brand, specifically after the recent Dodge Demon and previously the Hellcat. That really proves that they are focusing that driver involvement, that big engine, big horsepower, and trying to deliver a car for the enthusiast. Typically, this car right now is in the rear-wheel drive setting, and though this is a 4x4, there are different 4-wheel drive options to pick from, which I'll be showing it to you when we stop at our next stop, which is in Whistler. So that time I'll be doing a proper walk around of the interior and the exterior as well. So let's just focus on getting there, and once I'm there, I'll just show you the car around. So right now I just parked the truck outside my hotel in Whistler to perform a quick walk around of the exterior of the Ram 1500. So let me just take the camera for it. So you can see the Ram 1500 looks pretty much old school compared to its competition like the Ford F-150 or the Chevy Silverado. Just look at these mirrors. They're the Longhorn design mirrors and offer perfect visibility for such a huge truck. Let's check out the tires. Okay, they are the Bridgestone Duelers, and we can see the size is 275/60 R20, so pretty huge rim. Also, I was checking the ground clearance. It came up to be around just under 220 mm, which is surprising because the Fortuner's ground clearance happens to be more at 225. Other than that, it's a pretty good looking truck. Specifically the rear, this is the way to open the trunk lid. Pretty simple operation. Yep. So and yes, the front is pretty in your face and very, very aggressive looking front. Yes, it is aging, but still works. I think this generation of the Ram 1500 was introduced back in 2009. So pretty old design, huh? Alright, time to get into the interiors now. So the interiors are pretty much old school as well, but at the same time very practical. Let me just show you again from my view. So this is pretty much the instrument cluster for you. As you can see, plenty of space, pretty huge, and goes with the attitude and the style of the truck. And it's a good thing they have this huge instrument cluster here. Great amount of storage here, a lot of cubby spaces, and all the paperwork can be hidden easily. This is the 4-wheel drive control. As I said, typically the car rides in the 2-wheel drive, which is the rear-wheel drive form. And funnily, this is the gear selector, and I don't like this. I would have preferred a proper gear stick. A manual would have been nice, but I don't see the Ram being made in manual. These are the towing functions. This is the traction control off mode. Sadly, there is no navigation, and overall, oh, by the way, speaking of navigation, there is no reverse camera, there is no parking sensor, rear or front. So that's a pretty much of a downer for a truck this size. So sad thing that they could not offer it as a standard. I believe this is a base model, but still, for a truck this size, this should have been standard equipment. Another quick quirk which I wanted to point out is that these are the gear changing buttons. There is no paddle shifter. There is no manual mode, but yeah, gear minus, gear plus. So that is something which is the first time I've seen to change the gears present on the steering, not behind. So another thing is there is no audio control on the steering wheel as well, just cruise control and some MID controls out here. So that is again pretty much silly by Dodge. At the back you can see there is a decent amount of space at the back, but again not the most spacious cabin, pretty much workable. So yes guys, right now we are on the Sea to Sky highway towards Vancouver. It's a very beautiful and a scenic drive. Sadly the weather conditions don't really permit beautiful views, raining all around and overcast conditions with a little bit of fog. But we have another couple of days before we return the car in Vancouver, which happens to be our last destination. But a quick word about the fuel economy. Around 1200-1300 kilometers plus drive in this truck. I have got approximately 8+ kilometers per liter, which is decently good for this heavy truck, and a 5.7 liter V8 Hemi engine up front. I think this is majorly because this is using a 8-speed automatic gearbox, so the car moves into the higher gears pretty much around the cruising speeds of 100 kilometers per hour. So that has really contributed to the good fuel economy. So I'll join you guys when I'm returning the truck. Till then, let's just head out to our last destination, that is Vancouver. So I've just parked my car outside the rental return, and I think that's it from me here from Canada. I will see you guys soon back in India with more videos and more reviews. So thanks for watching guys.